Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Rajina Bila binti Raja Razali. Before I start inventing my segment title as The Culture in Social Media, I would like to introduce the articles that I have extracted my idea from to demonstrate my speech and my newsletter. The first and the main article is by Tommy Landry. He published the article How Social Media Has Changes, the Good and the Bad, on September 5, 2014. I take this article as my main source of main points because of many notable and relatable mentions on the article that I find it best suited my idea. Three others articles are to help with further elaboration of main points, and I learned the terms to convey my message better from these articles. The supporting articles are How the Internet and Social Media Are Changing Culture by Frank Furedi, then Way Social Media is Changing Our Culture and the World by Jeff Bullis, and Digital Culture and Social Media by Mark Poet. So I'm sorry if I enunciate that wrong. My aim to centralize the culture of social media is to make the people, especially readers, to understand how the mental health and the culture in social networking interconnected, which mainly suggests that our engagement in social networking really does affect our psychological well-being. As what the article Tommy Landry put forward, the culture are two-sided, which are the good and the bad. Now from the good side, I depicted three main points, which are the mass connectivity, immediate access to the information, and vocal globalization. Connectivity between us and others are widely stated in 4 articles, so I find that pervasive connectivity with confidant, family, and newbies are good for our emotional state. With the use of so many social media platforms, there are tools in exchanging conversation even though we are miles away. Jeff Bullis in his article really agreed on this by stating that reaching anyone can create a change and also expose ourselves to others. My second point is immediate access to information. This pointed out by 4 articles too, and that propose how it has become the core basis in social networking. Information are guidance for soul to seek for help or passion. The internet is a powerful tool to browse for your category in the need of time and piece of cake. With Pinterest as online portfolio and Quora to ask and respond, people actively contribute to expand the source of any content they like through social media. Now to my third point, and still is a good culture, is vocal globalization. Platform like blog to share your thoughts, Reddit to support people's aggregation because it relates to your passion is one of the ways to vocalize yourself. The aftermath is that we find a group of people of similar interests, and we may attract new reader, new listener, new followers, and that may outlive you too. Now we get to the main point, that's from the bad culture, which is polemical thoughts. Polemical thoughts are widely spread through social media because they have different opinions on the subject matter, likely religion, races, politics, and many more. And still, that sounds civilized. However, people evidently are being rough and intolerable on social media when criticizing others and defending themselves. The last notorious point is selfie. Self-portrait has become a norm across social media because of the advancement of phones' front camera. Should not there be a problem with that? But taking selfies, but when the irresponsible people take selfies at the wrong moment, at the worst moment, and it seems disrespectful and inappropriate to the eye of public, now that's going to be a problem. There are also ignorance in some that they take selfies to show the world how great their life are, which worsen other users' inferiority. Those are the ideas that I extract from the very 4 articles I've studied. So have fun reading my newsletter. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi, I'm Sharifah Amiza Zahira, and today I will share with you guys on how the social media changes our brain. First, threat. There are many threats that we could get from social media, such as hate comments, body shaming, and even insufficient viewers or likers. The threat is a discrepancy between external world and our brain's core belief. This threat will stimulate the hippocampus, which is the memory area of the brain. The hippocampus will then stimulate the amygdala that detect our perception of fear. This fear will cause stress on our body and stimulate the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. The hypothalamus stimulated will secrete corticotropin releasing hormone. It will then stimulate the anterior pituitary gland to secrete adrenocorticotropic hormone. Adrenocorticotropic hormone will be released into the bloodstream, and then it will stimulate the adrenal gland to secrete cortisol. When the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis is stimulated, it will secrete cortisol to deal our body with stress. When stress response is generated, normally it will increase our blood pressure and more glucose will be released into the bloodstream to prepare our body for fight or flight response. But when stress response is continuously generated, it will lead to hypertension such as high blood pressure, obesity, diabetes, and even chronic stress. Environmental causes could also lead to chronic stress such as family problems, finance problems, and even overworking. This chronic stress will cause the amygdala to increase its activity level and number of neural connections. Thus, it will weaken the brain size and its function. High cortisol release, it will wreak havoc on our brain. It may shrink our brain in size and cause loss of synaptic connections between the neurons. It will shrink our prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex regulates our connection, decision-making, judgment, and social interaction. That is why when people are too stressed, they can't think of any relevant decision and decides to do suicide. Thus, it weakens our ability to control stress because it could also inhibit the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis activity. Chronic stress also makes us hard to remember things and cause mental problems such as depression and Alzheimer's disease. Overactivating stress response will stimulate the allostatic load, which are our body's protective mechanism that start doing damage when it is being overused. The higher the allostatic load, it will cause more damage due to stress. But this allostatic load can be bring back to normal by having a balanced diet and have sufficient sleep. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. I'm Roshaza binti Muhammad Urbani and I'll share about the downside of social media on our mental health. So the first one is the social media platform. So you must be wondering how social media platform can actually affect our mental health, right? So basically, it's when someone is using their social media such as Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, they were exposed to the social circles posting photos, fabulous vacation, and also expensive purchases. All of this will cause the jealousy feeling and resentment while observing the positive things in others' life. This will also lead to depression among the teenagers who spend a great deal of time using the social media. Other than online depression, it will also lead to offline depression and social isolation. Those who suffer from depression and isolation will turn to risky internet sites or blogs and search for help that promotes the substances abuses, unsafe sexual practices, and aggressive or self-destructive behavior. Next is sexting or texting. Sexting is happen among the teenagers who have high curiosity that can lead to experimentation and exploration. So they will send or receive sexually explicit messages, photographs, or videos through their digital devices. 20% of adolescents reported to send and posted nude and semi-nude photos and videos about themselves. Usually, teenagers will have high curiosity when it comes to those two situations. The first situation is when Imagine you are a guy and you see your friends have their girlfriend sexual photos. Of course, you will be pressured to have the same. And the second situation is when you are a girl and you see your friends is posting their photos to their boyfriends and absolutely you do the same. This is because teenagers will have the principle of everyone else is doing the same. The biggest problem and the biggest fear is when the videos and images distributed rapidly through the internet. This will cause school suspension for the perpetrators and emotional distress accompanying mental health for the victims. As for texting, it may fit the self-centeredness of the narcissist and exacerbate the symptoms of obsessive disorder where if the narcissist's phone is taken away, they will find another way or another things to indulge and obsess over. Last one is cyberbullying and online harassment. It is the situation where someone is using their social media to communicate false, embarrassing, and hostile information about another person. Cyberbullying and online harassment can give big impact on self-esteem as it makes people doubt about their opinions and self-worth, both mentally and physically. When cyberbullying involves sharing addresses and phone numbers, it rightfully makes people fearful for most of their life. Doxing. Doxing is a frightening possibility for the most people with online life. This is where the harassers and bullies will share about their personal information online and then leave them to the vulnerable workplace and homes. So, it clearly can be seen that the cyberbullying can cause to suicide, isolation and depression. The cyberbullying victims also can experience symptoms of depression such as sadness, loneliness, insecurity, poor self-esteem, feeling of not belonging and also suicide behavior. Despite all of these bad things about social media, we have to know that social media can also lead to dopamine effect. As we know, dopamine is one of the hormones that can make someone happy. Social media can contribute to the dopamine effect when someone is getting notifications from various social networks. Those notifications will act like reward cue that will trigger strong feelings and immediate response. We can clearly see the dopamine effect when someone that is taking selfie getting comments, favorite or likes. It is because all of these things will trigger a spike in the dopamine and then associated good and happy feelings. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Iliana binti Fardiza and I am from Group Process of Lung. Today's issue that I would like to talk about is social media on mental health, specific into prevention on social media problems. Little do you know, excessive usage of social media can lead to social media problems. As example is social media addiction. According to Lifetime 2018, heavy use of social media can lead to self-esteem issue, cyberbullying, and also social anxiety. In order to prevent these things from keep happening in our society, we need to do some prevention because prevention is better than cure. So there are 3 ways to prevent social media problems, which are track your time online, reflect on your social media needs, and parents need to play their role in monitoring social media use among their children. First and foremost, social media problems, especially social media addiction, can be prevented by track your time online. If you ever encounter yourself from having social media addiction, you need to know your limit. According to G. Walton 2018, it is a little ironic that reducing your time online will make you feel less lonely. So, you better set your timer on your phone or on your watch so that you can limit the time that you spend on your social media. Secondly, reflect on your social media needs. According to the Wisdom Post 2018, social media addict will never move forward in their life because they waste too much of their time on unnecessary things. So always ask yourself whenever you want to post something or comment on other people's posts, ask yourself, why am I doing this? Are this will benefit to me and other people? So by doing that, you can be more careful on your behavior and your words when you are using social media. Last but not least, parents need to play their role in monitoring social media use among their children. Parents need to be concerned that compulsive internet usage is robbing their children from the real world. So, parents need to ensure that their children have many interesting things to do offline. As example is going on trip together. This will not only prevent them from getting social media problems, but also can create a tighter bond between the family members. I think that's it from me. Thank you.
I'm fat. She's only 19 years old. What am I doing with my life? Hey, 2 likes. Nice. Welcome to an internal monologue of a typical social media scroll. I am Sharmin Isha and I will talk about social media and mental illness. Some experts see the rise in depression as evident to rise in social media use that may develop into some mental illness, and it can affect the behavior of a person. What is the correlation between social media and mental illness? We are struggle with the insecurity because we comparing our behind the scene with others people highlight reel. So, the mental health of social media user often negatively affected by the culture of comparison. What is the link between social media and depression? Study shows the more social platform people actively engage, the more they will feel anxious and depressed. As the culture of comparison grows, it promotes the feeling of inadequacy and encourage low self-esteem, where it leads to depression, anxiety, and sleep deprivation. Social media also lead to loneliness. How does this happen? Even social media allowed us to connect with others. People who spend more time on social media would have less time on built-in person network activity. It only have more connection with people virtually and not in real. That could lead to loneliness epidemic. What about narcissism? What is narcissism? Narcissism is the behavior with lack of self-awareness and abnormal need for admiration. Likes button on social media create an environment that conducive to the goals of narcissism. Narcissistic people use social media to feed the ego and to temper down the low self-esteem feeling through online validation. What is the warning sign of the social media problem? It starts when you addicted to smartphone and particularly checking to your social media. Next, when you feel panic if several hours have gone by and you haven't checked on your social media account. Then, when you obsess over the best way to capture the moment so you can post about it. And after that, when you often comparing yourself to people through online. How does this bring negative effect on us? It will mess your ability to work independently. It will lowering your self-esteem and you will become worse at multitasking. And it can spark to phantom vibration and lead to sleep deprivation. And also, it will disrupt your concentration. And that's all from me. Thank you.